Hey everybody, hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the word. And today, that word is mercy. Mercy. Now, I pray that you've been able to see all of the Jonah videos. If you haven't, I pray you go back and check those out that we've been looking at over the past several weeks. But today we're going to finish it up with this word mercy. But who deserves mercy? Nobody. Right? I figure I'd give you a moment to think about it and say, well, yeah, I do. Well, wait a minute. No. The reason that it's called mercy, right? It's mercy is not getting what you do deserve. Grace is getting what you don't deserve, but mercy is not getting what you do deserve. And so let me make one thing uh, painfully clear for all of us right up front. We are all sinners. The Bible tells us very clearly we are all sinners. We all fall short of the glory of God. And the price for that is hell. So the wages of sin is death, right? And so we know we all deserve hell. See, when we come to realize that, then we begin to understand the mercy that God has given us, the mercy that He's extended our way, giving us the availability of salvation if we'll just place our faith and trust in Him. And if you've accepted that free gift of salvation, then God has had mercy on you because of the blood that was shed on the cross. But did you deserve it? Absolutely not. That's why it's called mercy. So I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as we talk about this word mercy today. Jonah chapter 4, the last two verses, and surprisingly, this book ends, this and the book of Nahum end with questions. And so this in verse 10 says this, "But the Lord said, you have had pity on the plant for which you have not labored, nor made it grow, which came up in a night and perished in a night. And should I not pity Nineveh, that great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons who cannot discern between their right hand and their left, and much livestock?" So the question is, should he show mercy? Now, let's remember who we're talking about, right? Remember, we're talking about Jonah, and this is essentially his enemy, their neighboring enemies, and he did not want to go. From the beginning of this study, we have seen that he hated the Ninevites. And we've talked about a lot of different things, that the reason why he didn't want to go and the reasons that we run from what God calls us to do. But I kind of wanted to put it in perspective for you. Recently, it's been about a month ago now, we remembered 9/11, September 11th. And we remember, I remember where I was, and anyone who was alive at the time, right, what you were doing at the moment of 9/11 when that horrible tragedy happened. Now, here's the thing. All those terrorists, right, from all over the Middle East, different places. But what would happen? Just take back the feelings that you had on 9/11 and the weeks thereafter, and how we talk about so much about how the nation came together, but at the same time there arose this this new division. Where now all of a sudden anybody that looked Middle Eastern, then Americans just automatically assumed they were terrorists. And it puts that fear in you. And we know that's just Satan working because God has not given us a spirit of fear. But with that, I'm trying to set the stage and get your mind to thinking about how you reacted to that situation and to those horrible tragedies. But to think about it, what if all the families of all those terrorists, right, back wherever their home is, if God called you to go preach to them, God called you to come share a message to them. And even a message of judgment that, hey, like Jonah was given, that judgment is coming. but you hated them so much that you wouldn't even go and tell them that judgment was coming. But then, of course, God sends a great fish after you, or sends you into the great fish. And then, you go back and you say, okay, yes, God, I'll go. And then you go. And imagine you go, and the feelings that must have been welling up inside of you while you would be there witnessing to these people and even telling them of the judgment that was coming. But then something happened. When you were almost with a smile on your face waiting for the judgment to come, that yes, that's what they deserve. They deserve to be punished. They deserve to pay for all of their crimes, to pay for all of their sins. And then you go to set up camp right outside. And you hear God say that, you know what? They've repented. They've called a fast. They have turned from their evil ways, and now they've turned to me. So you know what, Jonah? I'm not going to destroy them like I said I was, because they've had a change of heart. Now, once you have put yourself in that situation, and it's easy for all of us to sit here in our comfort and our ease here and to say how we would handle that situation. But I want us to really think hard about how you would react in that situation. Because now you get an idea of why Jonah was so upset. Because how many of us would be upset? God, you said you were going to kill them. You said you were going to wipe them off the face of the planet. But now you're letting them repent? You're letting them have mercy? But see, while you're waiting, while you're upset, you enjoy a little comfort, a little shade, right? From even this tree, this plant that popped up all of a sudden, provided you great comfort, and then it went just as quickly as it came, it disappeared, and you were angry with God again, right there with Jonah. And even as you're angry with God, God says this same thing to you. He says, wait a minute, you got really upset, and you're having pity, and you think that I should have mercy on you for this little plant. And you think it's more important that this plant that you didn't even do anything. You didn't do anything for it. You think that's more important than 120,000 people and all those animals and livestock? So it would be the same as us sitting there if we were there in the Middle East. And God says, wait a minute, do you not think that I should, just like I shared mercy with you and I showed mercy on your life and your soul, do you think that I shouldn't show mercy on even your worst enemy? See, the problem is this, right? This book ends with a question. And the question is really for us all, right? Should he show mercy? And we know that he will. Here's the problem, though. We don't want him to. I mean, if we're just going to be completely honest with ourselves, the reason that we fall into this sin like Jonah was is because we know that God can show a mercy. We know that God will show a mercy, but we just flat out don't want him to. But yet, with arms wide open, we'll be reaching and grabbing and be, quote unquote, thankful for the mercy that he shows us. There's something wrong with that picture. There's something wrong with that attitude. But isn't it the whole point of the book of Jonah? I don't know if you've ever really thought about what the point of the book was. It really has less to do with Jonah being swallowed by the whale or the great fish. Yeah, of course, that's what people remember. But do we remember the point? The point is that even your worst enemy, even that one who has completely turn their back on you, done unspeakable things against you, whether they live across the street or across the world. God is asking you the same question. Do they too deserve mercy? You say, no, they don't deserve it. But do you? So God is asking you, should I show mercy to them just like I showed mercy to you? That's the point. And when we can answer that, then we begin to see the Ninevites through a different set of eyes. We begin to see our enemies through a different set of eyes. And that's when we see things through God's eyes. That every soul is precious. Every life is precious. So I wonder today, will you show mercy? God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.